Hey folks, SMK Gaming here. I've had a response from DICE on my recent aim assist video in Battlefield 2042, specifically the snap aim assist video. They provided further information and clarified why they implemented the recent snap aim changes, and how in their view they have toned down the snap aim assist functionality compared to past seasons. I want to go over those reasons with you now and pick out a few key things that were mentioned and delve into them a little bit deeper, some of what will involve me speculating on the changes too. Let's get on with it. Here's what DICE had to say to me. Previous Battlefield games had a snap cooldown feature set at 0.5 seconds. For Battlefield 2042, we've set it 0.2 since Season 6. The reasoning for this is that we saw situations where snap was expected, but not happening due to the spam guard, as we call it. It has been tuned so that you cannot snap over and over to auto track. As demonstrated in the video referring to my video, if you keep using your aim to move closer at the same time, then the spam guard is more lenient, but still present. In reality, this actually means that we've toned down snap functionality. For example, previously you stayed on target for a little while after a snap. This is no longer the case. Additionally, snipers no longer snap, regardless of zoom magnification. Other weapons also won't snap when using magnification past ×6 scopes. So that's what DICE had to say on it. Before we get into it, I should let you know I have pinned the link to this Reddit post in the comments section below, where you can give your own feedback to DICE on these changes as they do ask for it. First thing I would like to discuss is the reduction in the snap aim cooldown, or spam guard as they call it. I wasn't sure when the cooldown had been changed. In my snap aim video in January 2022, I showed that in Season 1 it was similar to past Battlefield titles. We now have confirmation that it's actually only in Season 6 that they have changed it to this 0.2 of a second, or 200 milliseconds. At 200 milliseconds, I don't think there is much point of a cooldown being there. The time it takes to transition back to hip fire from aiming down sight to then aiming down sight again to initiate a second snap is surely longer than 200 milliseconds. Realistically, you couldn't ever do it quick enough to feel the cooldown effect and for it not to snap. It always snapped for me as I demonstrated previously, and I was doing it as fast as I could. The only reason I can think for a cooldown being included and not entirely removed is to prevent those with certain mods or macros abusing it. Mods or macros could do it faster than a player was ever capable of. Some players could potentially have a mod on their controller that quickly tells the game that when they aim down sight and hold that right trigger, as you typically do, it's actually telling the game that once the right trigger is pressed, it is then released and pressed again in this sequence over and over again very rapidly. It would be happening so quick that it wouldn't even be visible on screen. The game, however, believes it is happening and so would constantly have a snap effect multiple times within a fraction of a second to stay on target indefinitely, effectively allowing them to auto-track. With a cooldown still built into the game, however, that isn't possible. A mod such as this would not work. DICE goes on to say that it has been tuned so that you cannot snap over and over again to auto-track, and my testing did verify this. Snap aim can still help track a target. In the demonstration I presented in my recent snap aim video, I was still slightly moving my right stick to follow the target as I attempted to snap over and over again. DICE did mention that they don't want it to auto-track for you in saying, if you keep using your aim to move closer at the same time, then the spam guard is more lenient but still present. So it can aid tracking but not do it all for you. So if you make no attempt in trying to move your crosshair and follow a target, then no snapping to target. Here's me demonstrating this here now. Even when the target was moving slowly, my aim would not keep up with the player with snapping alone. You still had to follow them in some way. So going back to the potential reasoning for not removing the cooldown due to mod and or macro use, this snapping to target with no movement attempt could have been possible to do if the cooldown wasn't there. Realistically, it would have taken mods to achieve this though. Players in Battlefield 2042 just move faster. The time it would take for a typical player to snap the target and then attempt another snap is too long. The target would have moved out of that snap range. And this faster player movement is another reason for why they have increased the area of effect for the snap aim compared to previous Battlefield games. DICE stated that 2042 has higher movement speed and travel distance versus previous games. The snap radius is therefore larger as a result of faster moving targets, which gets more difficult at longer ranges as well. So DICE clearly still want the player to work a little bit to get that snap on a moving target. However, they've made tracking them a little bit more difficult to achieve by removing another function of the snap aim. DICE stated that previously you stayed on target for a little while after a snap. This is no longer the case. So this here feature that was previous in the game was separate from any stick aim or tracking effect that was available in the other aim assist options. Snap aim also stuck to the snap area for a period following the snap when the player was moving. Well, I didn't know about this, and it was probably a good thing. With all the other aim assist options available, I certainly don't think this was needed. I wish I had recorded footage of how this worked previously compared to now, but unfortunately I don't. So those of you out there that had all those aim assist options set to 100% and are now finding it a bit more difficult to stay on target following a snap, this could explain why. They've removed this here feature from snap aim that had you sticking to the target even more so following a snap. Now the aim assist slowdown and the aim assist sticky effect and tracking effect are all still there. This was another additional feature that has now been removed. The last thing on the snap cooldown, or the snap guard as DICE refer to it, is their rationale for reducing it, and it relates to players expecting it and not getting it. How many times have we heard players say snapping doesn't work for them? It feels inconsistent. I feel this has been done in response to that, to give the feeling of consistency. I don't really agree with that. I understand not all players know how the game's mechanics work, and I feel a lot of comments at times from players are in relation to a lack of understanding, and it isn't their fault. DICE should make things a little bit more clearer. Perhaps some notes in the snap effect cooldown in the settings would help with players' understanding of this. The final thing on this snap aim is for all you snipers out there. Guys, you no longer get any snap effect on your sniper rifles regardless of zoom magnification. So if you get quickscoped by a console player now, there's a bit more skill involved in that. When using any other weapon with a scope past ×6 magnification, no snapping either folks. DICE believes that all these changes have toned down the snap aim functionality in Battlefield 2042. But what do you think? Does the removal of the snap aim from snipers and certain scopes, as well as the removal of the tracking following a snap, offset the decrease in the snap cooldown? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. But of course, go over to that Reddit post and let DICE themselves know what you think about it all. As always, please hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and hit that subscribe button. I would really love to hit 11,000 subscribers before the new year. Take care all, and I'll see you again in the next one.